Hello everyone, this is Akshay Baheti and welcome to this talk on pathophysiology of HCC. In the next 6 minutes, we will understand why exactly we see arterial enhancement, washout, pseudocapsule, and other such major and ancillary features of HCC. This talk is part of a flipped classroom concept. So generally, someone takes a talk and then gives homework or basically expects the students to go back and understand the practical aspects of what is taught at the class. In a flipped classroom, the lecture is actually uploaded online for the attendees to listen to so that when they come to the class, there is more time for more practical learning. So to understand the pathophysiology of HCC, we have to know the structure of the hepatic lobule. This consists of the portal triad and the central hepatic vein. Now what happens with HCC is as the dysplastic nodule starts de-differentiating into HCC, we see a decrease in the number of portal triads and an increase in the number of these non-triadal or unpaired hepatic arteries. This is the main reason why we see arterial hyperenhancement. We all know that in cirrhosis, there is initially a cirrhotic or regenerative nodule, which then de-differentiates into low-grade dysplastic, high-grade dysplastic, and then early HCC and progressed HCC. Now, the regenerative nodule is benign. There is no clonal proliferation of cells. The low-grade dysplastic nodule is the first time we see this unpaired or non-triadal hepatic artery. Also, there is a clone-like proliferation of cells in this low-grade dysplastic nodules. What this means is, for example, all the cells are similar to each other. So if there is manganese or copper or something like that in the cells, we will see a T1 hyperintense nodule. Instead of there is iron in the cells, we will see a T2 hypointense or siderotic nodule. What is important to remember is that the clone-like population of cells is seen in the dysplastic nodules. By the time it becomes HCC, this clone-like population is lost as there is further de-differentiation. The high-grade dysplastic nodule will start demonstrating cellular atypia, but it's only in the early HCC when we start seeing stromal invasion. The early HCC, however, will only replace liver parenchyma and not compress it, which is why a pseudocapsule is not seen in early HCC but only in progressed HCCs. Also, vascular invasion is seen in progressed HCCs. Now, this is all a continuum. So, although I've described it as if one feature belongs only to one particular nodule or HCC, imaging features might actually overlap to some extent, and this is important to remember. This is the most important diagram. So we discussed this, right? That there are initially portal triads, then the unpaired hepatic artery starts developing, and the portal triads start diminishing while the unpaired arteries start increasing. Now, obviously, it is the ratio of the decrease in the portal triads versus increase in the unpaired arteries which leads to arterial hyperenhancement. Initially, the portal triads decrease much more significantly, and we actually see ISO2 hypoenhancement. And it's only in the progressed HCC stage where we start seeing arterial hyperenhancement. So once we see hypervascular tumor, usually it's a pretty advanced stage. On the other hand, OATP expression. So we all know the OATP cellular transport molecule. It is present on all hepatocytes and it transports, amongst other things, also hepatocyte specific contrast like Eovist or multihans into the hepatocyte. So if this OATP expression is lost, the tumor will not retain hepatobiliary contrast on the hepatobiliary phase and will appear hypointense on that phase. Now the good thing about OATP expression is that it decreases continuously across higher grade dysplastic nodules, early HCCs and progressed HCCs. So once we see a hypointense nodule on the hepatobiliary phase, it is either a progressed HCC or it could be an early HCC or even a high grade dysplastic nodule. Thus we increase our sensitivity to catch early HCCs, unlike waiting for arterial hyperenhancement, which will be seen only in progressed HCCs. What about venous drainage? Usually cirrhotic and dysplastic nodules and early HCCs drain into the hepatic veins. Once there is progressed HCC which has developed without a capsule, there is sinusoidal drainage. So it drains into the adjacent sinusoids of the adjacent liver parenchyma. And we see portal venous drainage only in progressed HCCs with capsules. Now this explains a lot of phenomena. So obviously if a tumor is draining into the portal vein while the rest of the liver is draining to the hepatic vein, we will see washout. Similarly, because we see portal venous drainage for progressed HCCs and this is the stage when we start seeing vascular invasion, tumor thrombus is generally seen in portal veins and not in hepatic veins. Because there is sinusoidal drainage earlier on, we can see satellite lesions in the adjacent liver parenchyma. And similarly, we can see corona enhancement. So enhancement which is sort of a rim or a corona around the tumor because of the sinusoidal drainage. Pseudocapsule has already been discussed. It is seen only in progress HCCs. We still don't understand exactly why is this capsule present, but is possibly related to response of the host mesenchymal cells to tumoral compression. And finally, we discussed about iron. Iron is not seen in HCC, it is seen only in the dysplastic nodules. So a T2 hypointense or siderotic nodule is certainly not HCC. On the other hand, fat can be seen both in dysplastic nodules and in HCC. Thus, we cannot use it to differentiate between the two. However, fat is seen in hepatocyte specific processes. What that means is that if you see a lesion with fat, you know it is not a cholangio or a metastasis. It's likely a hepatocyte process like an HCC. This is what I wanted to discuss in this short video, and hopefully this will help you in understanding what we discuss during the actual talk and implement the examples that we discussed during the talk. Thank you so much for your attention.